So in the previous video related to percentage, we have seen almost all the basics, like how you calculate percentage or what you mean by percentage, etc. Right? So we will also see some of the additional concepts in this video. So if you haven't watched that previous video, please watch that video before you see this video. Okay, so that will be really good for you also. Now here I'm not discussing anything that I have discussed earlier, so let me move on to the topic directly. Okay, so here the first point that I need to discuss is the percentage rule for calculating percentage values through addition. So here we are going to calculate percentage through addition. Okay, so I'll take up some difficult values and I will explain, but before that let me take a simple value and with that I can explain. Okay, so let's take 79. Okay, so 79, or let me take a value like 64. Okay, so let me take 64 divided by 80. So I need to see what percentage of 80 is 64. Now let me tell you before I start, if you need to calculate percentage through addition, you should have a very good addition skills. Okay, but here this question is very easy. So what you'll do is you will try to reduce it into like 100%, 50%. See, instead of 80, if it is more than 80, you will reduce like 100%, 50%, 25%, okay, 10%, like this. Okay, so what you're actually supposed to do here is, see, what is this is 80, so what is 50% of 80? 40. So the 64 you can write as 40 plus 24, right? That means it's actually, now you understood that this is 50% and more. Okay, 50% and more. Now this 24, what you can do is you can write it as 20 plus 4. Okay, so you can write it as 20 plus 4. So we know this is 40 is nothing but 50%, right? And 20 is actually 25%, right? 25% of 80, that means 1/4 of 80. Or what is 10% of 80? 10% of 80 is actually 8. 10% of 80 is actually 8. So what is 4? 4 is going to be 5%. Okay, so 4 will be 5%. So if you add this, you will effectively get 80%. But anyway, otherwise also you can get it, because 8 into 8 is 64. So you can get it easily, but I have just taken a very simple example so that you will understand the concept. Now let me take some bigger number or a point number or the number which may take some time otherwise. Okay, so or I will take a number where the decimals will also come, and I tell you in your actual exam what is the process that you're supposed to do. Okay, let's take a fraction 53 by 81. Okay, so let's take this 53 by 81. So I want to see what percentage of 81 is 63. Okay, see, in some of your question you need to find the exact value, then that is going to be very difficult. Like you may get 65.43, 65.56, 65.78, like this. This is going to be a little difficult. Or in a worst case, you'll get 65.43, 65.44, 65.45. In that case, you better leave that question rather than calculating. It is going to take a lot of time. But anyway, I'll be discussing a method. Okay, so let's see how we are going to approach this question. So what percentage of 81 is 53, right? So here, like what we have done in the previous case, what you need to do is, from the numerator, remove 50%, 25%, 10%, 0.1%, etc. of the denominator. So when I say 50% of the denominator, what is that? 40.5, exactly half. So if I ask you what is 10% of the denominator, that is 8.1. What is 25% of denominator? 8.1 plus 8.1 plus 0.45. Okay, so like this you can remove these percentages from the numerator, then see what is left out, and we can calculate the percentage accordingly, right? So first thing that you need to do is you can write this 53 as 40.5 plus 12.5. Okay, see, 40.5 plus 12.5, the denominator is like this. So what is actually happening is, this is 50%. This is 50%. So when doing this, you understood that it's actually greater than 50%. Okay, otherwise also anyway it is more than half, so you know this is more than 50%. So now you understood that this is more than 50%. Okay, Now what we need to do is see the 12.5 which is left out in the numerator. Okay, so that 12.5 you can remove a 10% of the denominator from that. What is 10% of the denominator? That is 8.1, right? 81 is the denominator, 10% is 8.1. So write 12.5 as 8.1 plus 4.4. Okay, so let me write this 12.1 as 8.1, that is 10% of the denominator plus 4.4. So this actually is taken away, right? That is 10%. So we already got 50% and now we got 10%. So you understood that this is going to be greater than 60%. Okay, this is going to be greater than 60%. Now if you look at what is left out, what is left out is 4.4, and 4.4 is less than 10% of the denominator. Denominator is 81 and the 10% is 8.1. Otherwise we would have taken in the beginning itself, we would have taken 20% itself, right? We could not have taken 20% because there was no 20%. Okay, so that's why we have taken 10%. Now whatever is left out is less than 10%. So obviously you can conclude that the percentage lie between 60 and 70. Now if you look at your options, if you see only one option which lie between 60 and 70, you can pick that as the answer. So here you can stop the calculation. You don't want to calculate further. The advantage of this method is basically as and when you want to stop, you can stop. Okay, so it depends on the answer options which is given to you. So if you have flexibility like that, you can stop the calculation here. You don't want to continue further. So you understood that the percentage lie between 60 and 70. So if you have an option which is between 60 and 70, and if you have only one option, you can pick that as the answer without thinking or without doing any more calculation. Okay, now if you have more than one options which lie between 60 and 70, we need to proceed further. So what you're going to do now is, so now you understood that your answer will be something like this. 6 is confirmed, so it's between 60 and 70, so I can mark this as dash, then point dash dash dash. So this is what your answer. Okay, so now it depends on the question. You may need to find this only, or you may need to find this, or you may need to find this, and depends on the question, right? And depends on the option also. So let's see how you're going to proceed now. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to see what percentage of 81 is 4.4. so that you can do in a normal way, like the way we used to calculate percentage, which I have discussed in the previous session. What you do, just multiply the numerator with 100, right? So effectively you need to find 4.4 is what percentage of 81, and you need to add to 60, right? But how will you find it? You can use the manual method that we have done in the previous lecture, like this: 4.4 divided by 81 into 100. So this becomes 440 by 81. So 440 by 81. So now then how much percentage you'll get? How much percentage you can remove from that? You can get 5%, right? 440 by 81 means 5 is what you will get. Then you will get some remainder 35. So let's keep that remainder away, because you may need to use the remainder. Depends on the option. If the option's having some decimal values, you need to do more calculation with the remainder that we got here. So now we already know this is 60, between 60 and 70. Now we got 5. So what we understood is, now what you can conclude is it is 65. So here this dash we filled with 65. Okay, we filled with 5. So you understood that it is 65 point something. Okay, so 65. Now even if you have answer options, all the answer options between 60 and 70, but it's like 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, you don't want to bother, or you don't want to do more calculation, you can pick whatever options with 65 irrespective of the decimal value, right? So I understood that it is 65 now. Point is now what we need to do. Okay, now if your answer options is like 65.123, 65.345, 65.678, then we need to proceed further. So how are you going to do it? So for that, we need to see this remainder. So what is the remainder? See, one thing which I have already told you, if you need to proceed with this method, is actually you should be very good at addition. You should have a very good addition skills. And the advantage of this method is you can stop the calculation as and when you get the answer, right? So now what you need to do is you need to find the first, what you need to fill here after the point, right? So the remainder is 35, put a 0, so it becomes 350, then divided by 81. So what you get is actually 4. You get 4, and what is the remainder? Remainder you get as 26. So with that 4, you can do what? You can fill this as 4. You get this as 4. So your answer now reduced to 65.4 dash dash dash. So now if your answer choices are like 65.4, 65.5, 65.6, 65.7, whatever be the points which is coming after that, you can pick whatever is there with 65.5. But if your answer options are like 65.5, 55, 65, 65.567 like that, then we need to proceed further. So how will you proceed further? See what is the remainder? That is 26, right? So add a 0 to 60 by 81. Now what you get? You get 3 with the remainder 17. You get 3 with the remainder 17. What does that mean? I am in a position to fill this dash with 3. So what you got is 65. Sorry, this is 4, okay? This is 4. So I have written by mistake 5. So 65.43. Okay? 65.43. Now, if you still want to proceed, I hope you understood by now. What you need to do? 170 by 81, and you can continue this, okay? So, but I got my percentage value as 65.43. I told you, you need to have a very good calculation skill. So we started off with 53 by 81. What is the actual percentage value? 65.43 percentage. But most of the time you just need to find this only, 65 percentage. Okay, but to be more accurate, this is the answer. Okay, now let's take one more example. You have, let's say, 256 by 70. Okay, I'm taking very simple number, very random number, 256 by 70. So what I need to do? I need to remove all 100%, 50%, 25%, 10%, 0.1%, etc. from the numerator, right? So 50%, 100% of what? 70. Okay. See, if you look at this is 70, numerator is big, huge, right? So firstly, if you divide 256 by 70, you get 3. So you can remove 300%. 100% is 70. So 300% means 210. So you can remove 210. You can write it as 210 plus 46. So with 210 itself, 300% is over. So I know anyway this is going to be greater than 300%. Now 46, how will you write? See, this is 70. So 50% of 70, that is 35. So you can write this as 35 plus 11. So this 35 is actually 50%, right? So here I got 300%. Now I got 50%. So now I understood that this is going to be greater than 350%. Now this 11, how can I write? What is 10% of 70? That is 7. 10% of 70, that is 7. So I can write this as 7 plus 4. And this 7 is 10%. So now I understood that anyway this is going to be greater than 360%. 360%. Now this 4, how can I write? See, what is 5% of 70? That is 3.5. So 3.5 plus 5. 3.5 plus 0.5. So 3.5 means 5%. Okay. So what I can conclude is this is going to be 365%. Now if you want to do more calculation, you can do this with this 0.5, but very negligible value. So I am concluding it with 365%. So 256 is 365% of 70. Now next is I want to explain another concept which is related to the effect of percentage change in the numerator on a ratio value. Okay, so the effect of percentage change in the numerator on a ratio. So let me take a very simple value like 55 by 100. Okay, so 55 by 100, this is nothing but 55%. Very simple, very easy, right? So now let me take this one also, 50 by 100. Okay, so 50 by 100. Now see, since the denominator is same, if you see what is the increase in the numerator, so 50 and 55, what is the change? Change is actually 5. That means 10. What is the percentage change? 5 by 50. Okay, so if you see, the change is 10%, right? So change is 10%. So 50 to 55, there is a change of 10%, and exactly the same in case of 50 by 100 to 55 by 100, the change will be 10%. The reason is the denominator is the same. Okay, same way if you take 40 by 80, okay, let me take 40 by 80 and 44 by 80. 44 by 80. So if you see here, there is a 10% change. So in the complete ratio also, there will be a 10% change. So actually 44 by 80 means it's actually 10% increase from 40 by 80. Just like 44 is 10% increase from 40. Both are actually same. Okay. Now, next concept in percentage is actually, see, yesterday we have discussed about successive change in percentages, profit and loss, etc. Right? See, one more case which I need to discuss here is in the product. Okay, let's take 10 and 10, which we know 100, right? Now, this 10 is increased by 11 and this 10 is increased to 12. Okay, now we need to see what is the percentage change, not the product value. This is easy. And since this is 100, calculation is also easy. But what is the percentage change? That's what we need to see. So effectively, if you look here, how will you calculate is basically, here there is a 10% change and here there is a 20% change. And the question is, what is the total change in the product? Okay, because we are actually calculating the product. So the fundamental thing which I need to tell you is, see, there is a product of two numbers. And the first number is increased by 10%, second number is increased by 20%. What is the effective change in the new product? I hope you understood the pattern. Okay. See, most of the textbooks and most of the coaching institutes will tell you there is a formula like A plus B plus AB by 100, right? So obviously if you apply that, 10, that's the first percentage increase on the first part, then 20 plus 10 into 20 by 100. Now here, what are this 10 and 20? These are the respective percentage changes. Okay, so just put this A, B and values and you substitute and you'll get the answer. So rather than doing this, how can you visualize with the previous concept that we have discussed? It's very similar to the successive increase or decrease that we have learned in case of percentage. So how we are going to apply the successive rule that we have learned here? So you can visualize like this, from 100. Okay, so because the product is 100, the first product, okay, 10 into 10, that was 100. So from 100, there is a change of 20% increase. And we know 20% increase means 20 increase. So that's going to be 120. Okay, so 120. Then what we need to do is, we need to see the 10% increase. Okay, so what is that? 10% of 120, not 100. Okay, so 10% of 120 is 12. So if you add 12, what you will get? 132. So initially it was 100, now it is 132 because one is increased by 20 and one is increased by 12 and the other is increased by 10% and the effective value is 12, right? So 100 to 132, that means 32% change is there. Now if you do the same by using the formula, then also what you'll actually get, see this 10 plus 20, that is 30. Then 10 into 20, 200, 200 by 100, 2. So 32 is what you will get otherwise also. Okay, so 32 is what you'll get otherwise also. So this is a better way of visualization. Okay, so 20% increase you see, then 10% increase you see, you'll get the actual value. Now similarly, let's suppose the product was like 10 into 10 into 10. Okay, so this is 1000. Okay, so okay, we don't want that. Let's suppose this was the product. Now what happened is it is changed to 11 into 12 into 13. From this, what you understood, there is an increase here of 10%, there is an increase here of 20%, there is an increase here of 30%. Okay, so there is a 10, 20 and 30% increase in each of the numbers in the product. Okay, so what will be the effective change in percentage of the total or the product? Okay, so effective change in this means this is what you need to do. Otherwise, see, this number is given, so you can calculate this, you'll get 1000. This is given, so you can take the product and you'll get some value. You can see the percentage change directly. But this is not even required. If let's suppose they are saying that there is a 10, 20, 30% change, okay, and initially the product was like 1000, or even that is also not required. What we do is we assume that this is 100%. Okay, from that, what is the change? So 100% was the initial case. Now you can see what is 30% increase. So 30% of 100 means 30. So it become 130. Then you can see what is 20% of 130. So how will you calculate that? 10% of 130 is 13. 20% means 26. Okay. So this is 26. So what you'll get is 156. Now we need to see 10% of 156. 10 percentage means 15.6. So 156.15.6 means 171.6. 171.6. So 100 to 171.6. So what is the effective change? 71.6. And that's what exactly you will get if you use the formula also. So what is the increase? 71.6. Now, a typical example of the concept that we have learned will be in a DI question. If I give you a very simple example, like let's take a DI case. Okay, so two pie charts are given. So a particular company, a Maruti company, the sale of a particular car is given, right? So let's take Celerio. Okay, so the sale in the year 1, 2011 and 2012 is given. So in 2011, out of their total, 23.47% was Celerio. Okay. Now in the year 2012, 26.55% was Celerio, or 2016 and 17. Let's take 16 and 17 because in 2011 Celerio was not introduced, right? So 2016 and 17. So this is also Celerio. Now the total revenue was 17342.34 and 19443.56 crore in crores. Okay, so what you're asked to find out is what is the percentage change in the sales revenue of the car Celerio from year 2016 to 2017. So what is the change from year 2016 to 2017? So what we need to find is what is the revenue from Celerio in 2016 and what is the revenue from Celerio from 2017 and what is the absolute change in that, and divided by the year 2016 revenue, and then you'll get the percentage, right? So how will you get the share of Celerio in the total revenue? It is given 23.47, right? So here 26.55. So we need to calculate like the 19443.56 into 26.55 divided by 100. So I can write it as 0.2655. That's in the year 2017. Minus, because we need to find the change, right? Now let's write 2016. So 17342.34 into 23.47 divided by 100, right? 23.47 divided by 100 means I can write 0.2347 divided by the base. Base means 2016, and that is what this one, right? So 0.2347 into 17342.34 into 100. That's how you will calculate the percentage. And this calculation, it's easier said than done, right? Because see, doing this is very, very, very difficult. Looking this, writing all these things is going to be very easy, and anyone can do this. This is the final value, this is the initial value divided by initial value into 100. What we have done is final value minus initial value divided by initial value into 100. Thus anyone can write, but how will you do the calculation? We can use the same method that we have learned just before. See, what you can do is you can approximate, because you are dealing with options. When answer options are there, you can always do this approximations, and I'll tell you how to do approximations faster and better in a different class. Okay, so in a calculation technique session, I'll discuss everything in detail about calculation and approximation, the way you pick the options, etc. So here let's do a very simple approximation to 3 digits. Like, let me write it as this one. Let me write it as 234 into 173. Okay, and this one as 194 into 265, or let me write in the same order, 265 into 194. Okay, so this is the first case, this is the second case. The first case changed to the second case. Isn't it similar to 10 into 10 was the first case and 11 into 12 was the second case? Because this was the first case of a product, this was the second case, and in the product there was a change, right? So first we have this product. We don't know what is that product. We are not interested in calculation also, but that product is changed like this. There is a change in this, there is a change in this. Like there is a change here and there is a change here. But here, in this case, we know this change is 10% and this change is 20%, and we know how to find it faster. Here we need to know what this percentage and this percentage. Then it is easy, right? So 234 to 265, what percentage? So 234 to 265, what percentage is what you need to find first. So what is the difference between this? 31 is the difference on the basis of 234. The base is 234. So what you can get is approximately 13.2 percentage. So here the change is 13.2 percentage. Then here 173 to 195. So 173 to 194. So here how will you calculate? See, the difference is 21 divided by 173. You will get approximately 12 percentage. Okay, so this is 12 percentage. So this you got as 12 percentage. So this is effectively the same thing that we have learned. Here 10 percentage, here 20 percentage. You have two methods, 10 plus 20 plus 10 into 20 divided by 100 here. Then if that is the case, 13.2 plus 12 plus 13.2 into 12 by 100. That is one way, rather than doing all those things, right? Otherwise, we can visualize, right? From 100, how will you visualize? See, in the first case, what we have done, and exactly the same thing is what we are going to do here. From 100, you can see there is a change of 13.2. The order is okay, not a problem, okay? So 13.2 increase, that you know 13.2. Why I am writing 13.2 is basically because this is easy, right? If you write 13.2 next, it is going to be difficult. Then what you got is 113.2. Then there is a 12 percentage increase, right? So this 12 percentage of 13.2 means 13.56. How will I get that 12 percentage? See, 10 percentage is 11.32. 10 percentage is 11.32. Okay, so 10 percentage is 11.32. 1 percentage is 1.132. 1 percentage is 1.132. 2 percentage is 1.132 plus 1.132. So you get 2.26. So here if you add 2.26, you get this value, right? So that's how you can calculate 12 percentage of 113.2 faster. So now if you add this 13.56, what do you get? You get 126.76. So what is the percentage change? 26.76. So in this case, the answer is 26.76. Now, you know, if you use calculator and if you do this calculation, rather than, without using calculator, it is going to be very, very difficult. And it is not advised, okay, to solve this question in exam. If it comes like this, if you cannot approximate, if you're not solving in this way, you should not attempt it, okay? If you use calculator, what you're actually getting is 26.82. And what we got, 26.76. Very, very effective. Okay, so that means this method is very effective.